My fiancé said, "My ex is joining our wedding tasting. Act mature or don't come." I smiled and told her I'd be very mature. Then I let them laugh through dinner, waited until dessert hit the table, thanked the venue coordinator for her time, canceled the wedding in front of both of them, and walked out with the contract folder before my fiancé realized I wasn't bluffing. Original post. I'm Ethan, 31, from Minneapolis. I work in procurement for a medical equipment company, which is a boring way of saying I spend all day reading contracts, catching hidden fees, and making sure nobody slips nonsense past me. I'm good at details, good at timing, good at keeping my face neutral when somebody across the table thinks they're clever. That matters. Because for almost 4 years, I was engaged to a woman named Lana, 29, who thought emotional chaos was a personality trait. Lana worked in brand marketing. She was bright, funny, social, and the kind of person who could walk into a room and have 3 strangers laughing with her in 5 minutes. When things were good, she was magnetic. When things were bad, she had a way of making every reasonable boundary sound like insecurity. That also matters. We'd been engaged for 11 months. Wedding was 7 weeks away. Venue booked. Caterer locked. Photographer paid. String quartet booked. Hotel block reserved. Save the dates already mailed. I had paid for most of it, not because she couldn't contribute, but because I made more and because I was the one handling the contracts. Total committed at that point was just over $22,000, with another $9,400 due the following week. And then there was Derek. Derek was her ex, not ancient history, not some harmless college ghost. Derek was the guy she dated right before me. The guy she swore was still important because they had grown up together. The guy who somehow kept appearing at birthdays, group dinners, and random Sunday coffees I was told were not a big deal. Every time I raised an eyebrow, Lana had the same script. "Lana, you're making this weird." "Lana, he's part of my life." "Lana, not every man is a threat, Ethan." I didn't like him, but I tolerated him because I believed tolerance was part of being an adult. I wasn't trying to police her friendships. I just noticed things. Like how Derek always sat too close. How Lana's voice changed around him. How she became performative whenever I looked uncomfortable, like my discomfort itself was the punchline. Still, I kept moving forward. Because when you've already put down deposits and invited 200 people and listened to someone describe peony arrangements for 45 minutes, your brain gets very committed to the idea that maybe you're just stressed. The wedding tasting was supposed to be simple. Final menu selection, wine pairing, dessert options, timing notes with the venue coordinator. One of those milestone things couples are supposed to enjoy. I took off work early, put on a blazer, and drove to the venue with the contract folder in the passenger seat. 20 minutes before I got there, Lana texted me. "Lana, Derek's joining us for the tasting." "Lana, he knows wine way better than you do, lol." "Lana, please act mature and don't make this awkward." "Lana, honestly, if you can't be cool for one dinner, don't come." I pulled into a gas station parking lot and read that sequence 3 times. Then I called her. She picked up on the second ring, already sounding annoyed. "Me, why is your ex coming to our wedding tasting?" "Lana, because I invited him." "Me, why?" "Lana, because he has better taste than you and I wanted another opinion." "Me, another opinion? From your ex?" "Lana, don't start." "Me, I'm not starting, I'm asking." "Lana, Ethan, I am not doing this in a parking lot. Either show up and act mature or don't. But I'm done catering to your jealousy." That word, jealousy. That's how she labeled any objection she didn't want to engage with. I looked at the steering wheel, smiled once to myself, and said, "You know what? You're right. I'll be very mature." Then I hung up. When I got to the venue, they were already seated. And yes, Derek was in my chair. Not literally assigned, but functionally. He was next to Lana at the tasting table, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, laughing like he belonged there. My fiancée had her hand on his forearm as the sommelier poured. That tiny touch told me more than any argument ever had. Lana saw me and gave me that bright fake smile people use when they want credit for avoiding a fight they started. "Lana, there he is. See, crisis averted." Derek gave me a little nod. "Derek, Hope you don't mind, man, she said you were cool. I set my folder down, took the empty seat across from them, and said, I'm extremely cool. For the next hour, I watched my own engagement turn into dinner theater. They talked over me. They referenced trips they took before I knew her. Derek kept making comments like, Lana always hates anything too salty, and she'll pretend to like red wine, but she won't finish the glass. Every sentence was designed to remind me he had a version of her that predated me, and Lana let him. No, worse than that, she enjoyed it. The coordinator asked about entree choices. Derek answered first. The pastry chef described the cake fillings. Lana turned to Derek and said, tell me honestly which one feels more like me. At one point she actually said, see, this is why I wanted him here. He gets the vibe. The vibe. My wedding, my money, my fiancé, and apparently another man was there to translate the vibe to me. I didn't argue, I didn't frown. I didn't give them the scene they were clearly expecting. I tasted the food. I nodded when spoken to. I thanked staff members by name. I even complimented the short rib. Because when people are trying to provoke you, calm is suffocating. Dessert came out. Mini lemon tart, flourless chocolate bite, and a vanilla bean cheesecake sample. The coordinator smiled and asked, so, are we feeling ready to finalize tonight? That was the moment. I folded my napkin, set it beside the plate, and stood up. Lana blinked at me. What are you doing? I turned to the coordinator first. Me, Marlene, thank you for your time. I need to stop this meeting here. She looked confused. Of course, is everything all right? Me, no, it isn't. I'm the contracting party on the venue agreement, catering package, bar service, and hotel block. I won't be moving forward. Please mark the event for cancellation pending written confirmation from me within the hour. Silence. Real silence. The kind that sucks all the oxygen out of a room. Lana stared at me like I'd started speaking another language. Lana, what? Me. I'm canceling the wedding. Derek actually laughed once, like he thought it was a bluff. Wrong read. Marlene, to her credit, shifted immediately into professional mode. Mr. Cole, if you'd like, we can step into my office and review the policy. Me, that would be great. Lana stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. Lana, Ethan, stop. This is embarrassing. I looked at her and said very evenly, you brought your ex to our wedding tasting and asked me to act mature. This is me acting mature. Then I picked up the contract folder and followed Marlene. Inside her office, I reviewed the cancellation schedule, because yes, I already knew it. I had read it before signing. 7 weeks out meant I'd lose the initial venue deposit, $3,200, but avoid the remaining balance on the package. Catering hold released. Bar minimum canceled. Hotel block reverted after notice. Painful, but survivable. Marlene printed the preliminary cancellation acknowledgement. I signed, she signed, I thanked her again. When I walked back through the lobby, Lana was waiting. Derek was not. Interesting. Lana followed me outside in heels, almost jogging. Lana, what is wrong with you? Me, nothing. Something's wrong with this relationship. Lana, you can't cancel our wedding over one dinner. Me, no, I canceled it over a pattern. Dinner was just the cleanest possible example. Lana, you're overreacting because Derek was there. Me, I'm reacting exactly enough. Lana stepped in front of my car door. Lana, you are humiliating me. Me, Lana, you did that before I got here. She stared at me like she wanted me to soften. I didn't. Me, I'm not marrying someone who needs her ex at the table to feel powerful. Then I got in my car and drove away. By the time I got home, I had 18 missed calls and 27 texts, some angry, some pleading, some trying both. Lana, are you seriously doing this? Lana, call me now. Lana, Derek left because he said this was between us. Lana, you made me look insane. Lana, we can fix this. Lana, don't start canceling other things. Too late. I spent the next 2 hours doing what I do best. I emailed the photographer. Non-refundable deposit gone, $1,800. Fine. Called the florist. Order canceled. I lost $950 in design prep. Paused the quartet with a written notice before final payment. Canceled transportation. Canceled the custom signage. By midnight, the wedding existed mostly in the past tense. At 12:14 a.m., Lana's mother called. Now I liked her mom, quiet woman, elementary school principal, never meddled unless necessary. I picked up, her mom, Ethan, I'm so sorry, me, I appreciate that. Her mom, Lana told us a version. Then Derek's name came up and I understood there was another version. Me, there usually is. Her mom sighed. I can't defend this, I won't. That mattered more than I expected. The next morning, Lana came to my townhouse. She had moved in 18 months earlier, but the house was mine. Mortgage, deed, utilities, all me. She started pounding on the door at 7:10 a.m. I didn't open it. I checked the front camera from my office upstairs and called my attorney friend, Nate. Nate didn't do family law, but he knew enough property law to give me the basics. Because Lana had been living there, I needed to handle it cleanly. No throwing her things outside, no changing locks while she was out, no dramatic nonsense. So I drafted a written notice giving her 30 days to vacate and emailed it to her, then had a process server deliver a formal copy that afternoon for $95. Again, details matter. That evening she was still furious, but now she was scared too. Lana, you had me served. Me, yes, Lana, over a misunderstanding. Me, no, over an ending. Then she played the card I knew was coming. Lana, so that's it. 4 years gone because I asked you to be an adult. Me, no. 4 years gone because I finally was one. Update 1. It's been 9 days. Lana is staying with a friend, or was. Based on social media, now she's staying with Derek, which is a level of accidental honesty I almost respect. She posted a vague Instagram story about men who weaponize money when they feel insecure. I ignored it until her cousin sent me screenshots of comments implying I abandoned her right before the wedding for no reason. So I posted exactly one statement to my own page. No names, no insults, just facts. Wedding canceled after repeated boundary violations culminating in my fiancée inviting her ex to our final wedding tasting and dismissing my objections as jealousy. Contracts and housing are being handled formally. I won't discuss it further. That post did more than any fight would have, because facts are hard to compete with when your entire strategy is vibes. Her sister texted me that night. Sister, for what it's worth, everyone knows you didn't invent this situation. Sister, also Derek was at brunch with her 2 days before the tasting. So, sister, you're not crazy. Again, that mattered. The ring became the next issue. It was an $8,900 oval diamond. Not absurd by internet standards, but a lot of money to me. In my state, the ring is generally considered a conditional gift tied to marriage actually happening. Since the marriage was not happening, Nate helped me send a formal demand for its return. Lana called me screaming. Lana, you want the ring back too? Me, yes. Lana, that is so petty. Me, no. Petty would be letting you keep it while you move in with Derek. 3 days later, she mailed it back in a padded envelope with no note. Classy. I returned it to the jeweler and took the restocking hit, lost about $1,300. Still cheaper than a bad marriage. Final update. It's been a little over 2 months. Lana is officially out of the townhouse. She got the last of her things with a civil standby because apparently by the end, she no longer trusted herself to stay calm. That was fine with me. I had already boxed everything by room, labeled it, and photographed it. No screaming. No tears. No final movie speech, just inventory. Derek came with her, which felt on brand. He stayed in the driveway, also on brand. The weirdest part is how peaceful my life got once the performance ended. No more being told that disrespect was modern. No more pretending my discomfort was immaturity. No more swallowing obvious humiliation because I wanted the future to match the deposits. A few mutual friends drifted away. Good. People who require access to confusion usually leave when the confusion ends. Lana sent one last email 3 weeks ago. Not an apology, more like a thesis statement. She said I had punished her for not fitting into my rigid idea of commitment. I almost replied. Then I deleted the draft. Because there's nothing to explain to someone who watched you bleed patience for years and still called it control when you finally stopped. So that's where things stand. The wedding is gone. The contracts are closed. The ring is returned. The house is quiet. My bank account is bruised but alive. And every now and then I think about the look on her face when I thanked the venue coordinator and ended the whole thing with dessert still on the table. People keep asking whether I regret doing it so publicly. No, she thought maturity meant sitting there smiling while she tested how far she could disrespect me. Turns out maturity was leaving before, for better or worse, turned into a legal obligation. She wanted me to prove I was secure enough to tolerate anything. I proved something else. Calm doesn't mean weak. Patience doesn't mean blind. And sometimes the most adult thing you can do is stand up quietly, sign the right papers, and let the fantasy die before it costs you the rest of your life.